देखते हैं तुमसे चल के पता चलेगा। एक बंदा कनेक्ट हो गया फोन पे ना।
Welcome to everybody who has joined on Zoom.
जी मैम।
Good morning to everybody. Welcome and nevertheless, we are gathered here to commemorate and celebrate Teachers' Day. So allow me to begin with saying pranam to my mentor, Professor Pathak, who has very kindly consented to be here today. And so once again, thanks to all those who
Thank you very much, ma'am. And yeah, I hope I fit in the frame. So namaskar, everyone, and welcome to the Sophisticated Analytical Instrumentation Facility of Punjab University. This is a unique occasion because you will find many generations of teachers present here today. You know, starting from Professor K.N. Pathak, the senior most. Then we have Professor Grover. Both are ex-vice chancellors of Punjab University, very renowned physicists. And we also have Director, Research and Development Cell, Professor Meenakshi Goyal present here. She's leading from the front of all the R&D facilities of Punjab University. Then we have Professor Rajat Sandhir, who's an eminent professor, and also the director of Pi Rahi, one of the prestigious projects under the Office of Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India. So I welcome everyone who's here on the dais and the podium, and they'll be speaking on this auspicious occasion of Teachers' Day. We understand the role of teacher is multifarious, especially now in the days of artificial intelligence, when people tend to rely more on certain tools than listening to teachers. But very soon we'll find out how the role of a mentor has shaped up since independence, especially when we talk about the nuclear program or the program of space in India. And I think Professor Grover will be highlighting that. So I welcome all of you who are present and my sincere gratitude for coming and gracing the occasion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Gaurav. And now it is my turn to introduce Professor K.N. Pathak, who actually needs no introduction. And I only remembered a couple of days ago these two books which have been written about Professor Pathak, Shunya Se Shikhar Tak, Prerak Kathaएं, and Life and Times of Professor K.N. Pathak. I would only like to remind you and remind myself that he has actually risen from the ground level. And his story, I'm sharing this for the first time to anyone today, that nowadays in our work with the society, we visit many villages, many smaller places, and every time I find a child who is lacking a little bit in studies, I tell our uh, our demonstrators to pay attention to that child, because I say we may be losing a K.N. Pathak if you don't look after this child. So that is the kind of inspiration that he has presented to me and to many others. I believe Professor Pathak is a well-known physicist, and he's a member of all the academies of science, and he works well. He has worked well with students. He has worked well with difficult postdocs like me. And thank you, Professor Pathak, for being there. And now I request you to address the audience. He is the chief guest today.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much, Kia, for saying nice word. And I am also honored to be asked to be the chief guest on this day. I don't have much to say, that I am very happy to see a lot of my good friends and well-wishers in this hall. And maybe I don't immediately collect the name, but I am really the most delighted to see the faces here. Professor Kumar is there, I think very old friend, Mrs. Kumar, CMO of the Punjab University, Professor Khanna, my dear colleague in the department, Manjeet Kaur, Dharanbir ji, Sud Sahab, Pathak, Mrs. Pathak, and so many people on the dais. I think all are very well known people. And Growers has been a student. Teachers' Day is a day to remember teachers and taught both. And Goel, Meenakshi, I have been knowing since ages. Rajat has been a very eminent scientist. I got the award of Nasi, I think so. Many people have achieved honor in this university. Navdeep Goel has been a colleague for a long time, and my well-wishers. So I have so many names. Singla Sahab has been associated since long time, and I think we used to work full night in a computer center to declare the result of the interest test those days. Those were days we used to work in the night to declare the result, and paper should not get out, and results should not be should be out within day of the examination. So these were practices the university has been following. I have an old friend there, Sadarji, I don't remember the right name, and they are very good. He has been, I think, first of the few scholar in this department. Who this department was this constructed in the first conference of instrumentation was held. I think in Punjab University, Chandigarh. Professor Puri was the vice chancellor, and I was the convener of the conference. So these are all old memories. And today is Teachers' Day. Teacher actually save the society, save the students and their life. Rather, teacher, it is said that teacher is a candle who consume itself to give light to the people, actually. And teacher is also one who gives inspiration, inspires the students to achieve goal, whatever they have thought about. So I think there is a lot of things which can be said on Teachers' Day, and it is commemorated on the birthday of Sarpalli Radhakrishnan, and he has excellent academic record, which probably people may not know after they may not recollect it. He studied in India, and he was born, I think, 1884, and he got educated in Tamil Nadu for some time, then got education in Bihar and taught English to the students. And he was a economics, master in economics. Then after teaching in Bihar, he became principal of the college where he taught. Then he went to Calcutta and did his master in law and finally got the degree of LLD from Allahabad University. So that has been his educational career. And then he, after doing law, he got inclined towards the political philosophy of the university. And first, he was the chairman of the lawmaking committee. What is the name that first constituent committee? He was the chairman of that committee. This constituent committee assembly for the election of the country in 47, before 47. So a great scholar, and so we are commemorating his birthday. He was born on this day, on 5th of September. So people wanted to celebrate his birthday. He said, no, don't celebrate my birthday. You celebrate it as a teacher's day. So there is a lot of things written about him. He was an ideal teacher. It's supposed to be, he said that he was the most respected teacher among the students community. So I think he has given inspiration, and teachers are being inspired every year after year. So it's a memorable day, and we are celebrating, although 3 days late, but I congratulate those people who are the teachers, because they are the taskbearer of the society. I am very delighted to see all of you, each and every one. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you.
I will now request Sir Gaurav Verma to come and call out two employees who are to be honored today.
In fact, there are three, not two. And we are taking this occasion to felicitate and give letter of commendations for 3 employees of SAF. First one is Mr. Manish Kumar from the NMR facility.
उधर कर दियो, उधर देंगे जब।
Mr. Dimple Kalyar. Geeta.
ले राजू अच्छी फोटो डाउन डालिए वैसे डालिए
Many of these things that we are saying, I think so. Thank you. That was a short and sweet ceremony. So congratulations to all of you who got the commendation letters. So once again, Professor Gaurav Verma to introduce guest of honor of today, Professor Meenakshi. Gaurav to introduce Meenakshi.
It's my pleasure to introduce Professor Meenakshi Goyal, the present Director of Research and Development Cell of Punjab University. She's been the former Dean of Engineering and also the Chairperson of Department of Chemical Engineering and a very renowned carbon technologist. And over the past many years, she's been mentoring Department of Chemical Engineering for many research projects, including the prestigious TechCube project. In fact, the first TechCube project we got was during Professor Meenakshi Goyal's tenure, and that was one of the biggest projects to be given to the smallest entity all over India. So I welcome Professor Meenakshi Goyal to SPSTI for the first time after taking charge as Director Research and Development. Please, a hand of applause for him. So may I request Professor Meenakshi Goyal to address the audience on this Teachers' Day commemoration.
Respected dignitaries, esteemed teachers, dear colleagues and students, a very good morning to all of you. Today, we have gathered to celebrate a very special occasion, that is Teachers' Day, which is observed every year on the 5th of September to commemorate the birth anniversary of Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, a great philosopher, scholar, and the second president of India. His life and work remind us that education is not merely about imparting knowledge, but about shaping character, building values, and nurturing the spirit of inquiry. When his students wanted to celebrate his birthday, Dr. Radhakrishnan humbly requested that it be observed as Teachers' Day so that the role of every teacher in society could be recognized and honored. This day holds special meaning in India, where the Guru Shiksha tradition has always been central to our culture. Teachers are not just instructors, they are mentors, guides, and torch bearers of wisdom. They prepare generations to shoulder the responsibilities of the future. At Punjab University, we deeply value the contribution of our teachers, and today at CIL, we take pride in honoring distinguishing educators like Professor K.N. Pathak and Professor Arun Kumar Grover, whose dedication, leadership, and scholarship have enriched not only this university, but also the wider academic and scientific community. While we celebrate the legacy of Dr. Radhakrishnan, we must also remember another towering figure in Indian history, Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha, the father of India's nuclear program. Dr. Bhabha was more than a scientist. He was a teacher, mentor, and visionary institution builder. His ability to guide young scientists like Dr. Vikram Sabrabhai and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam exemplifies the highest ideals of mentorship. Dr. Bhabha's greatest contribution lay in his vision of scientific self-reliance. He understood that for India to emerge as a modern and strong nation, it had to cultivate its own scientific talent. With this foresight, he established institutes such as Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in 1945 and Atomic Energy Establishment Bombay, later renamed Bhabha Atomic Research Center. These institutions were not merely laboratories, they were schools of thought, nurturing generations of Indian scientists and preventing the brain drain. They instilled confidence in young minds that world-class research could and should be pursued in India itself. Thus, on Teachers' Day, while we bow our heads in gratitude to all teachers who dedicate their lives to shaping minds and building futures, let us also draw inspiration from leaders like Dr. Radhakrishnan and Dr. Bhabha. Their lives teach us that true education is not just about the transfer of knowledge, but about the building a vision for the nation, nurturing talent, and empowering the next generation to carry the torch forward. Let us pledge to honor our teachers, not just in words, but in action, by embodying the values that they have instilled in us and by contributing meaningfully to society and nation building. On this note, I extend my heartfelt greetings to all teachers present here and across the country. May we continue to cherish, respect, and celebrate the guiding lights of our lives, that is our teachers. And
Thank you so much. Wonderful words, Professor Meena. Very inspiring. Thanks. Now I wish to invite Professor Rajat Sandhi. Rajat is himself a well-known biologist and is looking after Vairahi, the cluster of universities for research. So Rajat Sandhi will introduce today's speaker, Professor Grover. Rajat, all those books are for you. या तो डॉक्टर साहब ने या कमेंट्री
Very good afternoon to you all. Respected dignitaries on dais, Professor K.N. Pathak, Professor Arun Grover, Professor Meenakshi Goyal, Dr. Gaurav. And I would see Professor Pathak, Professor
अरे चल रहा था अभी, साउंड कहाँ गायब हो गई पता नहीं, साउंड गड़बड़ है यहाँ पे। क्या तमाशा है यार।
Recently, he was awarded with Raja Raman Fellow of the Department of Atomic Energy. And if I still keep on talking about his credentials, I would say, Dr. P. said, so many books, how will you introduce him? So it's a challenge to introduce such a iconic personality here in this particular audience. But I would say his interest in pursuing academics and bringing that to all of us, he's been passionate. After his term as a vice chancellor was over, he still continued to guide us in bringing in the best people, connecting us to the best people in the country. And if I have to talk about one of the biggest contributions we had from him when he was vice chancellor was to come up with this idea of CRIC, this Chandigarh Vision Knowledge and Innovation Cluster, which actually gave rise to one of the entities that I also represent here, called Northern Region Science and Technology Cluster, which we in short call as PI Rahi, Punjab University IIT Roper Regional Accelerator for Holistic Innovations. And this is the 7th cluster. We were 7th in the line. The idea originated from Chandigarh, and we have clusters now in seven cities, along with the regional cluster, the only regional cluster in the country, that is PI Rahi. And I think the whole idea, the genesis was picked up from this particular idea that Dr. Grover nurtured, to bringing in this all institutions in the Tri-City together. And I will also say, as far as Dr. Grover's contribution is concerned, he played a key role in for celebrating the birth centenary of Homi Jahangir Baba in 2019, 2009. And he also edited a book which is called Tribute to a Titan, Birth Centenary of Homi Jahangir Baba, which was co-edited with Deepan K. Ghosh, and it was published by Indian Physics Association. And he's been guest editor of special issues on Homi Baba. And I would say I've been associated with him in many ways. His interests include history of higher education, scientific research in India, and he can connect many scientists. The way he can connect the dots, I think no one else can do that. And I would say there cannot be any better person than him to talk about Homi Bhaba's legacy as a teacher, scientist, and an institutional builder in independent India. And I would say, if I faltered, forgive me for missing on some things that Dr. Grover contributed. And thank you all for patient listening. And over to Dr. Grover for his talk. Thank you.
So good afternoon all. It's a privilege for me to give a teacher's day talk at my own environment as a chief guest with Professor K.N. Pathak, who taught us, as we just told all of you, in 1971-72. We were the first set of students when a special paper on solid state physics was taught by Professor Pathak. Special paper was also there in particle physics, and that was taught by Professor Anna, and he is also in the audience. Actually, I am overwhelmed with the presence of Professor Vijay Kumar, Sajjali, Gadua, Professor Jitendra Mohan, Professor Kochar, and so many other senior people of this university. Some of them I had the privilege to work as a colleague during my self-construction. So thank you all for coming to this lecture, for which I have chosen this topic. You can make it full screen. So I have chosen this Homi Bhaba's legacy as a teacher, scientist, and institution builder in India. He was a multifaceted character, and after his sudden passing away, so many articles and books have been written, hundreds of them. And his name entered the school books, NCERT school books, after the first nuclear device that India exploded on 18th of May 1974. So he was part of the school text. I mean, during the pandemic time, we had this two series in 22 and 23. It was broadcast by the Sony Live, Rocket Boys 1 and Rocket Boys 2. Now it describes the life and times of Homi Baba and different Karana. Many of you may have seen those, some of the episodes of those two serials. But my talk today is going to be somewhat different. I'm going to confine more to such facts which will not interest the Bollywood producers. So let's proceed, and to start with, I have given you a preview of my presentation. See, Baba had trained himself as a theoretical physicist in Cambridge, but when he got caught during the summer vacation when the war happened in 1939, he was at Bangalore, and in the year 1942, he decided that he will not go back to England as and when the war would end, but he commenced the experimental program in cosmic ray physics at Bangalore. So while at Bangalore, he got an opportunity to contribute to the nation building via participation in a two-day symposium which was convened by National Institute of Sciences, the present day INSA, at Calcutta on September 27, 28. All the teachers, scientists of India had got together to discuss the post-war organization of scientific research. Baba was assigned the topic of what should go on as a research in the Universities of India, allocation for research in the Universities of India. This was the topic assigned to Baba. So when the proceedings of the symposium came out, Baba became aware of the aspirations of all his contemporaries. So it is at that stage he thought of adding to also to it, and he gave the proposal for creating Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in 1948. But as India becomes independent, he was more successful than many of his contemporaries because they lived very long. But his innovative ideas, his international connections, and the support that he received from Bhatnagar, from Pandit Nehru, Raman, T.R.D. Tata, which enabled him to contribute immensely to nation building in a span of just 18 years, from 47 to 19, January of 1966, when he suddenly passed away in a close place. So before I describe to you his contribution as a teacher scientist and the nation building, let's briefly recap his childhood and his educational memory. He was born on October 30th, 1909 to Jahangir Baba and Maharane Chandni Pandey. So Baba's grandfather, he was named almost to Baba, same name as his grandfather. His grandfather was the Inspector General of Schools in the large Mysore state, so he was actually a highly educated person. But from his family side, he was very well connected to the family of industry. His father's sister was married to Dorothy Tata, so he was a nephew of Dorothy Tata. And Mr. J.R.D. Tata's sister was married to cousin brother of his mother. And both of them were grandchildren of Sir Dinshaw Patrick, the first person to be knighted in. So this was, he was very well connected to the industrialist family. He was born in a very well educated environment. So when he was just 4 years old, the child Baba did not sleep more than 2 3 hours in the night. So parents were worried. So the parents consulted a French doctor in Paris, and who told them that they had an extraordinary child who had a very active brain, and they need to take good care of him. He could grow out to be a genius. This is what was told to them. So, good enough, he was sent to the best school in Bombay. After the schooling in Bombay, in that school he studied science, but at the intermediate stage, he switched to studying art subject, and he was still not 18 years of age there, and the parents wanted to send him to Cambridge to study engineering. So after a year, he studied at the Royal Institute of BSc. After that, he did the 2 years BSc course. And during that BSc course, we had an opportunity to listen to a lecture given on cosmic vehicle A.H. Compton. A.H. Compton was visiting India in 1926 at the invitation of Punjab University to do cooperative, to launch a cooperative program in cosmic rays. We actually ran for 10 years after that. So Compton was in India, he traveled to Bombay, Baba got inspired to study physics instead of doing engineering. So anyway, parents wanted him to study engineering. So he first did engineering and then followed it to the career in science. So so this is the house in which he was born, Kenilworth Bungalow. Kenilworth Bungalow was the house of his grandparents, and his other sister lived in this house. It was a family house of two Pandey. This house does not exist anymore, but what exists today is a multi-story building, which was constructed as a hotel by a Parsi builder who has bought this bungalow from to Pandey family. But Baba maneuvered to buy that hotel for the Department of Atomic Energy via his connection with Nehru, and that is how the officers of Baba Atomic Research Center in PIF live in the Kenilworth today. All right. So anyway, so these photographs, one is a bungalow in which he was born, the other is a bungalow in which he lived when he was director of the IFR and then he was chairman of Atomic Energy. And that bungalow is called Mehringate Bungalow, because Mehring was his father's name, and Jahangir, he from Jahangir, so that is what the bungalow was named Mehringate. That was the bungalow of Baba. But that bungalow also has been sold after the death of his younger brother. It was bought by somebody from the project who have demolished that bungalow and built something else there. So these two heritage buildings are lost to us as of this. So this is Homi Bhabha and his younger brother J.J. Bhabha. The parents, that is child Homi Bhabha, and this is the teenage Homi Bhabha. So Homi was named almost, but when he moved from Bombay to Cambridge and got his degree in mechanical engineering, he almost transformed to Homi. After that, he is Homi Bhabha and not Homi. So at Cambridge, he first studied engineering in the same college in which Gaurav Tata had studied, and to which he had given an endowment, that is the Barnwell and Keys College. So he had this mechanical engineering degree from that college, and his father had consented to support him to study mathematics later on if he got a first division in mechanical engineering, which he did. So not only would study mathematics after that, but we also have a scholarship to also support himself. So after mechanical engineering, we did mathematics, we did very well in maths and physics course as well. We got another scholarship. So that scholarship enabled him to enroll for PhD. And during PhD, the very first paper he wrote, the paper was written in German, and it was communicated with Pauli, who went on to win Nobel Prize later on. While Baba had visited him at Zurich. So that paper got an award in the form of a postdoctoral fellowship. So after PhD, again he could support himself on the basis of his own work. And during his postdoc, he did such important work that at the end of his first postdoc, he was awarded another postdoc. And after completing that second postdoc, when he was looking before he could graduate to join the academic institution in England, he was in India, and that is how he was in Bangalore when the war started. So there are this series of scholarships that he got. One of them was a traveling fellowship, which enabled him to travel all across Europe while he was doing PhD. So during his PhD, he had visited Pauli at Zurich. He had also visited Enrico Fermi in Rome. Both Pauli and Fermi went on to win Nobel Prize at the time. His PhD supervisor was R.H. Fowler. R.H. Fowler had been mentored by A.V. Hill, and he was a student of Rutherford. He was also a son-in-law of Rutherford. So Fowler already had two Indian students when Baba joined him for his PhD. Mainly, S. Chandrasekhar was already doing PhD with Fowler. And so was E.S. Kothari doing PhD with Fowler, and Baba joined Fowler for his PhD. Kothari was sent by Meghnad Saha from Allahabad to do PhD with Fowler. And Meghnad Saha had known Fowler by his interest in stellar physics. They had worked in the similar area for a while. So Baba knew Chandrasekhar, Meghnad Saha, incidentally, D.D. Goswami, incidentally, Jan Nalikar's father, V.V. Nalikar, was also at Cambridge at that time. So, he met all these important people while he was a student at Cambridge. 10, 15 years down the line, they are all his years in India, and when India becomes independent. So this is the background in which he makes all these important contributions to nation building. So this is Homi Baba, with his younger brother, Jamshed Baba, and this is Homi Baba, with whom Baba considered as his mentor, Paul Dirac. So Dirac was also a student of Fowler. And Dirac's PhD thesis was on quantum mechanics, because Heisenberg had made his work aware to R.H. Fowler. So he did his PhD on non-relativistic quantum mechanics, but soon after he married the special theory of relativity into the quantum mechanics and came up with this formulation of relativistic quantum mechanics. So this happens in 1928, and Baba reaches Cambridge in 1927. So when Baba is studying for mechanical engineering, Dirac has already done this important work which will push in the Nobel Prize few years down the line. So Baba was very fascinated that he has to work in an area in theoretical physics and something which will connect him to Paul Dirac. So this is just a photograph. Homi Baba visiting Copenhagen in 1943. Copenhagen has this Niels Bohr Institute, and you can see in the front row, Dirac is sandwiched between Bohr and Heisenberg. Baba is right at the back. And I have also marked Heitler, because there is Baba-Heitler theory of cosmic ray showers, which is a very important piece of work in the high energy phenomenology. So I have also marked Lisa Meitner there. He is the one who first identified nuclear fission. This photograph is 1936. Okay, what did It was a busy slide, but I have just put the 15 papers that Bhava wrote during his Cambridge during his PhD and the postdoctoral. The important pieces of work. His first paper, as I told you, okay, was communicated by Pauli, and it was on electron power absorption of the fast electrons by gamma rays of the fast electrons. So his third paper, okay, is communicated by Fermi, and this is a joint paper with the senior student full. So that is a joint paper. The other joint paper that he wrote among 15 papers is the one with Heitler, and that is the paper, okay, which is on this Bhava Heitler theory for cosmic rays. Now, Heitler actually was the postdoc of Hans Bethe, who received the Nobel Prize postdoc. So there was a Bethe-Heitler theory for electron power. Bhava found some inconsistencies in it, so Heitler then worked with Bhava and gave the real theory for cosmic ray powers. So this is the quality of work that Bhava did, okay, during his PhD or immediately after PhD. Most important piece of work for his PhD thesis was electron-positron scattering using the Dirac equation, relativistic quantum mechanics, which is known as Bhava scattering. Bhava scattering even today is used to characterize all these high energy accelerators, whether means that the data, experimental data is sort of matched on to Bhava scattering, not only in MEV range, but also in GeV range. So Bhava scattering is a part of his PhD. So this is what got him a PhD, then he did a post-PhD, and then a post-PhD work. He is the one who first said that the cosmic rays has heavy electrons. Okay, so he actually identified, predicted that there are muons in the cosmic rays and not electrons. So this also is Bhava's prediction. When in the cosmic rays, he gave how the pions which decay into muons and how the decay of pions into muons can be used to test the special theory of relativity. So 5 important pieces of work that Bhava did for his PhD, and it is with this record that he was in India. And we will see that he was nominated later 5 times for the Nobel Prize, and it is this piece of work which figured in all those 5 nominations. So he is in Bangalore, 1939. 41, he was elected fellow of the Royal Society because C.V. Raman nominated him for that. 9 other people also nominated him, so he became FRS in the very first attempt. So in the year 42, he received the Adams Prize for writing an essay. So Fowler had received Adams Prize, Dirac had received Adams Prize, and Fowler sort of motivated him to compete for the Adams Prize when he got it in 1942. His father passed away in the summer of 1942, and then he decided that he will not go back, and he commenced his experimental programs in cosmic rays. It is actually a continuation of the experimental program for which Millikan had come to India in 1939-40. Robert Millikan, all the physics students know who was Robert Millikan. He is the one who gave us the electron to charge to mass ratio. So Robert Millikan was in India at the invitation of C.V. Raman at Bangalore. He started some programs, but when the war happened, Bhava decided to recommence the experimental program. Earlier he was doing theory. So now he himself is doing experiments and testing his own theory. This is what we started in the year 1932 at Bangalore. So in 1943, K.S. Krishnan, who was at that time at Allahabad, professor at the Department of Physics, he sent his most bright student, MSc student from Allahabad, namely Harish Chandra, to work with Homi Bhabha in 1946. Harish Chandra, we all know, after Ramanujan, the two great Indian mathematicians who get counted. One is Sargam Chawla, an alumnus of Punjab University, and the other is Harish. So this is Rishchandra didn't stay with Baba very long because once Baba decided to move from Bangalore to Bombay to create Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. So Rishchandra was too bright and Baba didn't want that his growth as a scientist would suffer, so he sent him to work with Iraq as he moved from Bangalore to Bombay. This was the kind of concern he had for his very bright student. So, okay, I already told you in the year 1943, in Teacher Sciences of India, at the instigation of Meghnad Saha and J.C. Ghosh, who had succeeded C.V. Raman as the director of Indian Institute of Science, who was the president of National Institute of Sciences, which transformed into Infra Research. These people got together. I have given all these names, Saha, Dr. Sophie, Bhattanagar, S.M. Mitra, Mukherjee, Mohammed Obis, D.M. Bose, Wabia, Bhattacharya, and Juha. All these are well-known names in different disciplines of science. They have all got together for a period of two days, discussed how the science should be organized as the war would end. So they passed a resolution that India, they made many recommendations, but one of the things was they passed a resolution that India should have a national research council. It took 80 years to get ANR effect in the year 2043. But this is an agenda which was articulated as early as 1946. The proceedings of that symposium were published in 1944. In that, there is a paper by Bhava on allocation of research to Indian universities. What should happen to a university? What should happen to a specialized labs? All this was our contribution. Of course, there are great contributions of Bhatnagar and Saha also in that process. So the teachers have decided what should happen to India after the war, but somebody has to agree to it. The colonial government has to agree to it. So Saha gave the proposal and Bhatnagar got it implemented. They got A.B. Hill, the secretary of the Royal Society, to come to India to talk to these scientists on the pretext that Bhava had become, that Krishnan had become an FRS in 1940, Bhava had become an FRS in 1941, and Bhatnagar had become FRS in 1943. These people had not signed the Royal Society leadership. So A.V. Hill got part of that sheet from that register on which all these people signed. This is the excuse for which he came to India, but actually he came and spent 4 months in India repairing Bhatnagar's house, traveled all across India, listened to all these teachers and submitted a report to Government of India called Scientific Research in India. And this is, and he made very definitive recommendations. So you can imagine that whatever has happened in independent India in 75 years, it is based on recommendations which go by the name of A.V. Hill recommendations, which are based on actually all the groundwork done by the teachers scientists of India. And A.V. Hill acknowledged that the report wasn't published as he submitted it. So A.V. Hill had done a smart thing. He published a 4-page summary of that report in the Nature magazine after the war. So that is how the rest of the world came to know that A.V. Hill had given these recommendations. War ends. Now India is on way to independence. So Nehru becomes the vice president of the council. This executive council of the colonial government is the de facto time. The prime minister is the candidate for independent India. So Nehru adopts those recommendations and starts implementing them one by one. IIT, expansion of agricultural university, creation of CSR labs, Population Research Institute in India, Fisheries University in India, all these things are very helpful. And amongst that is also articulation by Bhava, because Bhava knew A.V. Hill, because A.V. Hill was a mentor of Harry Fowler. So Bhava had all these connections. Of course, Saha also had all these connections with A.V. Hill. So both these people, Saha has proposed an Institute of Nuclear Physics in Calcutta. Bhava has proposed the creation of Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Bombay with the domain of nuclear physics. So this is a kind of a competition. Raman also wanted to have a nuclear with family minister of science. So, but these people are competing for something which after the end of the war had become the central piece of strategic research globally. So this is Mr. J.R.D. Tata. Tata was only five years elder to Baba, and some of it were referring to Baba, and this is what Mr. Tata recalled in 1970. Because as I viewed the troubled scene of 1930, I was convinced that only an elite of brilliant and dedicated men could take the country forward to its high destiny. So appearance on the scene of Homi Bhabha in 1943 on his return from Cambridge with his immensely talented mind, steeped in modern science and his prophetic vision of the potential of nuclear energy stream is truly predestined work. Okay, so because Bhabha was all the time consulting Mr. Tata, J.R.D. Tata. He was like Mr. Tata was not the chairman of Tata Sons to Mr. Tata. He was not the chairman of the Tata Trust. So Saklatwala was the one who was putting all that. So Bhabha wrote on 19th August 1943, he wrote his first letter where he articulated the notion of creating a school for physics, fundamental physics and physics. So that is August of 19th August 43, when the symposium in Calcutta, and November in 43, they arrived. Then CSR had been created on 26th of September 1942. The CSR was already in place. But Nagar had already proposed the creation of 5 national labs in India. So Baba was aware of all these things because this had been told to Lady Hill as well. So Baba, as far as the colonial government was concerned, the only science department was Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. All the money allocation was with this Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. So if you have to get any money from the colonial government, you have to make CSR aware of what you want to do. So Mr. Ramaswamy Mudliar was the member of the Executive Council who looked after the CSR. So Baba travels from Bangalore to Delhi to give a talk to be presided over by Mudliar, where he articulates what he wants to do in a fundamental research institute and he seeks support, financial support for his aspiration. So all right, January and February, Baba had also a family friend, Mr. Choksi, Rustam Choksi was a professor of English in the Wilson College. So he was helping him as to how to draft a proposal which the Tata Trust would accept. So a proposal was submitted to the Tata Trust in April of 1944, and there he articulated the fundamental research. And lo and behold, the proposal is accepted. And in that proposal, he had said he was seeking money from Dorothy Tata Trust and also saying that he would seek money also from the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, which was headed by Bhatnagar. In Bhatnagar, he was already connected to, he knew what Bhatnagar was saying. Bhatnagar wanted to have a national physical lab in Delhi in a very grand way. So Baba told him, if you give me 10% of the money that you are wanting to spend on NPL, I will create a fundamental research institute in physics in Bombay. So he wanted actually initially only 10% of what Bhatnagar wanted to spend for NPL. And Bhatnagar said, okay, fine. So it is in that background. Okay. Yeah, so I would come up. So this is Bhabha flying balloon, a photograph from that time. So this Bhabha flying balloon with the help of Dr. A.S. Rao. A.S. Rao was a physics person who had graduated to doing electronics at Stanford University in the 40s during the war years. So Bhabha got A.S. Rao back to Bangalore and inducted him in this cosmic ray program. So you will see that in the same year, Shaw goes on to be the chairman and first chairman and managing director of Electronics Corporation of India, in the year 1966. This is the beginning of our years of collaboration, okay, in the cosmic ray, promoting cosmic ray research at Bangalore. So the EIFR commences on 1st of June 1945 in the Department of Physics, Indian Institute of Science. It has a budget of only 80,000 rupees. Out of that 80,000, 45,000 was to come from the government first. 25,000 rupees was to come from the government of Bombay. Bombay and the CSR contribution in the first year was just 1,000. And but in the very next year, the CSR contribution announces from 10,000 to 75,000, but Nagar is elected as a member of the government of PIFR. So PIFR moves from Bangalore to Bombay on 19th of December 1945. So from then onwards, okay, the PIFR initially it was supposed to be a Tata Institute of Fundamental Research and Physics. By the time it comes in Bombay, still physics will drop. It is Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. Maybe he has asked Hava and Dirac has also asked Hava to include mathematics and biology. Hava includes mathematics, but biology takes some time to come. So Baba needs physicists and mathematicians. So amongst the mathematicians, we inducted D.D. Kosambi. D.D. Kosambi, he had started his career from BHU. Later on, he was a manager and then at Pune. So we inducted, he was a well-known mathematician and Indologist at that time. So Baba got Kosambi to help him in PIFR. Baba got Pyara Singh Gill, who was for a while at Lahore from 1940 to 1945 in the FC College Lahore. We inducted him as a professor of experimental physics. Chawla was also available, but after the partition of India, but by that time, Baba had already inducted Kosambi and he had invited the German mathematician Levi, who was at that time working in Calcutta, to also help him here. The initial people were these. And K.V. Hill had tipped Hava that Maha was trying to get Chandrasekhar back from America. So before Maha could write to Chandrasekhar to come back to Calcutta, Hava had already written to Chandrasekhar offering him the professorship and emolument equivalent to his own emolument as a director of PIFR to come and join PIFR. So, and because he had the support of Tata, so, and Tata had made available to him this 75,000 rupees, so he could pay for Chandrasekhar's movement from America to India and also having more. So it is, but finally Chandrasekhar never returned, and that's a story. This is Baba on the inauguration day of PIFR on 19th of December 1945. He is giving a scientific talk, and this is Baba with TMS Blackett, another Nobel laureate. Blackett was a famous Australian physicist, but Nehru had inducted him as his scientific advisor as he assumed the vice presidentship of the council, this executive council. So even the interim government, Nehru had Blackett as an advisor. And Blackett again was from Cambridge, same Rutherford background. So Blackett, Baba, and H.J. Taylor. H.J. Taylor was another cosmic ray physicist who worked in the Wilson College, the same Wilson College that Baba's friend was the professor of English. So this is another photograph, but now Blackett and Baba in the PIFR of 1949. So, okay, India becomes independent, and Nagar had created a committee for atomic research within the CSR in 1946. India becomes independent 11 days after the Indian independence on 26th of August 1947. But Nagar persuades Nehru to create a board of research in atomic research for atomic energy within the CSR, and Baba is made chairman of that. So within 2 weeks, there is board of for research in atomic energy. 6 months down the line, in April, in 10 months down the line, August 10, 1948, Atomic Energy Act is passed, Atomic Energy Commission is created with a secret commission which had just 3 members, Bhava, Krishnan and Bhatnagar. Everything happened in secrecy, but money was all coming from the CSR. All the money to all scientific institutions came to CSR until the year 1954, when the Atomic Energy Commission, when the Department of Atomic Energy is created as a separate department in August of 1954, and thereafter the money, Bhava has his own budget. Till then, all scientists have to get money from Bhava. So, Bhava had to, but the mathematician, he inducted K. Chandrasekharan from Princeton, okay, to lead the mathematics program of here. Raja Ramanna was inducted as an nuclear physicist from London, and Bhava had him before he was appointed, given an appointment letter, but asked to stay in England for 2 years to learn how the nuclear reactors can be worked, how nuclear accelerators can be made to work, etc. So these are the kind of innovative thinking that Bhava has, how to get people well trained so that we can use them as leaders to lead different dimensions. So these are the kind of students that Bhava inducted at the under the Atomic Energy Program. You can see all these names mentioned by Daniel Ram Prakash, Sirikantan, who went on to the director of PFR. Ram Prakash was actually a PhD student, did PhD with Bhatnagar at Lahore. It's a long story, but now that after the war he had gone to MIT and he had to return to India because he went on a Government of India fellowship. It was a scheme which was advocated by the So Ram Prakash comes back and is inducted by Bhava as the metallurgist for the India's Atomic Energy Program. So there is no Atomic Energy Program. So he inducts him as a member of the PFR and stations him in Indian Institute of Science. So Indian Institute of Science has a metallurgy department because Bhava had sent Ram Prakash to create this metallurgy research there for a few years. So that by the time the atomic energy establishment will come up in 1954 and Bombay would start going, he would have a trained person, trained for the purposes that he wanted. So it is this Ram Prakash who is our metallurgist. It is the same Ram Prakash who produces the half of the fuel for the Canada-India reactor, the first research reactor that gets going in 1950. So, and it's the same Ram Prakash who will nurture Abdul Kalam in the space department. So, Satish Dhawan was at Bangladesh. Ram Prakash was at Bangladesh. Satish Dhawan was a Lahore product. Ram Prakash was a Lahore product. So, this is the synergy between Satish Dhawan and Ram Prakash. Ram Prakash also worked for, so when Satish Dhawan becomes the chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission after the sudden passing away of Tarabai, so Ram Prakash is already helping the Space Department after the death of Satish Dhawan. So this is the kind of so these are all this is there, how to induct right people, identify them and give them the so the Pathak can see Finland in English and he will allow us for him. So he was also inducted by Bhava. And we headed the lecture theory group in Atomic Energy Establishment from as well as you can see Peter Anger also there. You can see the guy who Sarmati is the father of the high resolution NMR. NMR people all know Sarmati. He was inducted on Stanford by Bhava. From G. Venkatraman, who wrote the first biography of Bhava. He also wrote the biography of C.V. Ram. He was also a student of Bhava. So this is the kind of teacher that Bhava was. And the Menon was inducted along with G. Venkatraman So these are the students who did PhD under Baba. The topics that they worked on. One of them is K.K. Gupta. The Pathak will remember KKG had come to Punjab University after his retirement from Ceylon to teach quantum mechanics to the physics students of Punjab University. A few years he taught there, but he couldn't stay here for long because the UGC did not permit retired people to be associated with the university. KKG actually is from South. So this is me for visiting your university. So as I told you, the PIFR foundation stone, the famous building of PIFR Colaba, foundation stone was laid on Sunday, January 1, 1954. Okay, and Baba confessed that the land for PIFR, which is in the cantonment area of Bombay, it was bought for him by Bhatnagar using Bhatnagar's influence on Baldev Singh, who was the first defense minister of India. So, these are all Lahore connections which made the atomic energy further. You can see all these things. Pyara Singh Gill is there, land is there, from this thing. Yashpal is there. So, lot of KG Vora who started the radiation agenda of radiation medicine agenda of this thing. All these people are from there. So building has to be built. People who built MPL and NCL in Pune, same contractors built here. We have same contractors actually built the model of the. So there is a no, sorry, not Sunday, Friday, January 1. So Nehru laid the foundation stone of PIFR and this is the model of PIFR. So 8 years down the line, this is the PIFR building. So you can see how well the model is in the constructed form. So okay, so Nehru is in Bombay. Friday he laid the foundation stone of PIFR. Sunday he laid the foundation stone of Atomic Energy Establishment, Bombay. It is still a part of CSI. Okay, so 3rd of January that is. So Atomic Energy Department happened in August of 1954. As soon as the Atomic Energy Department is there, now you have to do something related to atomic energy. So a reactor has to be built. So a swimming pool reactor is proposed, for which ASRO does all the control this thing. All the mechanical work is done in the TIFR workshop, and the fuel comes from Baba's connection in Harvard. So this project is on how to have the first reactor built. So they start after August of 1950, this thing, and within 2 years the Apsara reactor was built. Okay, in between, United Nations proposes the first conference on peaceful uses of nuclear energy. Who is the chairman of that conference? Baba is the chairman of that conference, which is to be held in India. Okay, in that conference, in the backroom discussions of that conference, all these trade deals are going on because the Americans are interested in selling the power reactors to the developing countries. So that is how Baba enters into an agreement to have the first power reactor, which is today at Bombay, which is a General Electric system. Parafos, which is at Parafos, General Electric. And this Canada-India reactor, research reactor, that deal is struck with the Canadians because Baba had a friend who had built the Canada's first natural uranium. So natural uranium reactor, Baba ties up with Lewis, and that was the proposal of Canada-India reactor. Deal. The deal was struck in 1954. So fine, you need people who will make it possible. So Baba had this N.B. Prasad. The same N.B. Prasad goes on to create ONGC later on. India had ONGC during Mrs. Gandhi's time, when the first oil crisis. The same N.B. Prasad was helping Baba with research work. But if you have a research reactor, you have to do some science with it. So Baba dispatches PKI and D. Venkataraman to Canada, to Chalk River, so that they come trained. So that the physics instruments are already built parallel to it. reactor becomes critical, physics instruments are already parked in the hall. So the neutron beam will come and the science will come. So this is the speed at which we used to do. So many people Baba took to Geneva Conference, 1950. Huge delegation which has gone to the 1950. Where travel was almost impossible, I thought. But no, they don't have it. There is the Baba, there is the Sekhna, there is A.S. Rao, there is Raja Ramanna, and secretary of this conference was none other than Prakash, who was his handsider for making fuels. And Baba has that he is going to have a deal with Jewish and fuel has to be made. So Baba is actually is Prakash is actually the secretary of this Geneva. So fine, things are moving. Apsa reactor has gone critical. So now you have to launch a huge program of Department of Atomic Energy, for which we need engineers, we need scientists. So we propose that India should have a training school. So this is how the Atomic Energy Establishment Training School notion comes in. Where officers are recruited every year. Atomic Energy Training School is the only organization other than the defense officers where there is no regulation. Okay, so and the career profile of these officers, Baba made sure because A.B. Hill had recommended that this research scientists should be on career profile comparable to that for civil servants. So Baba uses that recommendation and gives these scientists of ERC, scientists engineers of ERC. So this assured career profile. So the same assured career profile is made available to academics of ERC. And that is how the academics also have this assured career profile. And 20 years down the line, when Yashpal is the chairman, he translates whatever was there in the Atomic Energy for the university teachers of India. So you see, influence of Baba is there in so many ways, even for the University of India today. The Center for Advanced Scientific Research, that idea is the Baba idea which Kothari implemented when he was chairman of the because allocation for research to the university. We have said universities should have these specialized centers which should be funded as well as the national level. So that is 1943 when the presentation of Baba is of Kothari implementing the form of Center for Advanced Research. So training school is headed by Ramanna, Petra. So in between, Chinese are working on a nuclear bomb. Which gets exploded few months after Nehru's death. But Nehru had secretly working on processing of this spent fuel of Cyrus reactor and extract plutonium out of it. Because they knew that you have to compete with China. So Chetna was put onto that plutonium on the pretext that there will be a three-stage nuclear program. Plutonium will be a fuel for the fast speeder reactor, and after that, in the third stage, it will convert thorium into uranium-233, and that will be the stable material for this. So there is, Baba had predicted in 1955, thorium might provide energy resources adequate for the next millennium. So this is that long-term vision and program. And then he says, I venture to predict that a method would be found for liberating cheap fusion energy in the controlled manner. He said in next 2 decades, so that has not happened. But with tighter programs in France, in which India is a big participant, it's again the thoughts of Baba. That is why government of India agreed to give money, because it's all hard required somewhere in the government document from the 50s. So this is the Chinese delegation in India Lakshara reactor. That time China didn't have any research program. They saw Bombay working on this processing and trying to get uranium rod for the fuel. The Chinese in Bombay. So this is Nehru This is Ram Prakash, now Sandhya Studio, these two days a visit to Sandhya. And this is Satish Dhawan and Ram Prakash and Kalam is Sandhya Studio in that. This is in early 70s. That again is Ram Prakash sandwich between Baba and Shastri. So this tells you the importance of Ram Prakash, both for the nuclear program as well as for the space program. So anyway, Bhaba's influence on electronics and space technology. Okay. So Bhaba had written electronics to play a big role in defense research. He worked with the electronics committee appointed. Then he also had put space research and people using the outer space as a new domain in atomic economics. Okay, and he got this committee, Indian Committee for Space Research in India in 1952, and got Sarabhai made chairman of it, just as Bhatnagar had got made Bhaba as the chairman of the atomic economics. So Bhaba also started to support Sarabhai's PRL as a part of the atomic energy. He didn't know that he would sort of where it was to. So this is Bhaba's electronics energy report. It is therefore essential that this industry should be planned and organized from the very beginning in such a way so as to build into it the capacity to keep abreast of progress in the rest of the world without continuing dependence on foreigners. For this is space. The reason for going into space research is that there are many areas in which it is likely to be seeing results of great practical importance in the near future, and we would again be falling behind the advanced countries in practical technology. The space program has taken 50 years to succeed out, and all research is started as early as 1950 or 60 if I remember. So Tata Memorial Hospital. Tata Memorial Hospital was made by Dorothy Tata Trust in the name of wife of Dorothy Tata, the aunt of Tata. The hospital is established in 1941. So Bhaba creates this Cancer Research Center, Hospital Independence. Then he has his biology division also, atomic energy created in TIFR for the atomic energy. Not for TIFR science, but for atomic energy. So he gets all these things together and gets created what is called the Tata Memorial Center under atomic energy in the year 1950. On the pretext that in America, the US Atomic Energy Commission looks after the cancer hospital. And who is the man who looks after the cancer hospitals in America? That man is none other than John Lawrence, the brother of Leo Lawrence, of the Lawrence Radiation Lab, who had built the cyclotron. So these are all Bhaba connections. So they were training people for radiation physics. Bhaba also sent people from Bombay to get trained in medical knowledge. And that is the start of all this cancer hospitals under the Tata Memorial Center within the atomic energy program. That is why we Chandigarh also we have this only for cancer hospital and structure. So beginning of this is the connection. So radio astronomy. So radio astronomers tried to Bhaba in 1952, going through them few people, right? Bhaba gets some aircraft. Then yes, maybe Hill had advised Bhaba to get biophysics, but that happened only in the form of Obaid Siddiqui, who was recommended by Gillard. Gillard again was a nuclear physicist. So this is how both these people come in. And today we have the National Center of Radio Astronomy and National Center for Biological Sciences within the TIFR system under the Department of Astronomy. The first science for policy resolution is also due to Bhaba in 1958. So what he said, we must ensure adequate supply within the country of research countries of radio astronomy. We should ensure that creative talent of men and women is encouraged and find full support in the scientific field. to secure for the people of the country all the benefits that were accrued from the acquisition and execution of scientific science. This is the first scientific policy resolution, 1958. Baba, as I told you, was nominated 5 times. He didn't get the Nobel Prize because at that time the competition was very, very serious. Baba himself nominated Cochrane for Nobel Prize and he got it immediately. Felix Cochrane. Nobel Prize of Baba Generation Institute. Dharmati was the postdoc of Felix Cochrane. So Dharmati comes to India, Baba as Felix Cochrane because of Nobel Prize. Lamb got Nobel Prize also. Baba was one of the different. So there is peaceful uses of atomic energy. Lakshman, Baba in the eyes of Dr. Lakshman. Okay, this is 55 conference and this is 1956. So Baba and Mrs. Ram. Baba had known Indira Gandhi and Pandit Nehru from 1930. So one of his trips from Bombay to England, they were in the same ship. I told you that Nehru had asked Baba to keep him abreast of the nuclear bomb that the Chinese were building. So Mrs. Gandhi lastly died January of 1956. Indira Gandhi was sworn in as a Prime Minister on the morning of January 24, 1956. Baba travels that early morning from Bombay to Goa. That is a plane which happened. But one day before that, Baba had agreed to leave atomic energy and move to Delhi as a cabinet minister in the Mrs. Gandhi's cabinet and look after the entire science and technology. What has happened in the form of Dr. Jitendra Singh, the Prime Minister of Modi's time, after that, in 2019, this was to happen in India in January of 1956 to cover the difference from the alternative to so thank you.
That was such a wonderful experience. Where we have time for just one or two questions.
It's a minor detail. I wonder if Professor Grover knows that Dr. Baba made a name for all the visits to our physics department in 1969. I was surrounded with the indirect business. At that time, the physics department was a house in the Department of Chemical Engineering and Technology, and that was the only building which was complete. The other buildings were yet to come up. First, power department and very liquid was below government. It was an unannounced visit, and it's something about the personality and thought philosophy of Dr. Baba. He walked into the department with his long coat, right? And I never have to do anything. After that, I was trying to get around into the building and he came in alone. Without any, there was something else from. I recognized him from the photograph that I seen. Managed his mind, he smiled back. And then I suddenly ran back. I thought we must be for Dr. Anand. Because nobody in the department knew that he was to do this. So I ran back, went to Dr. Anand and called him. And just as Dr. Anand came out of the office, he said, Dr. Baba had mentioned. Dr. Baba stayed there only for a few minutes and he looked into the lab and then went back. Now, one thing personality that we saw at that time, 2 minutes that we saw him now. The business life approach to business. When he died, unfortunately, in the year 1966, I was there in SPSTI, and we had a condolence meeting. And after a thank you to Dr. Baba, the director informed us that Dr. Baba had left a will saying that when I die, no one could be stopped in any holiday. So after that, we went back to our, let's say something about the, land. I want you to know very well, so it was running by the way. Which then we are the one that was we are the one that done it in the Dr. Blackett, forward. No, Professor Nan, Christy, Blackett के साथ किया. So Daniel also was in the he also was. So Anand had an overlap with both Daniel Daniel, whom Baba had sent to work with Blackett, and also N.G.K. Hammett, who also did his PhD with Blackett. Where the physics department has displayed photographs during the D.M. lecture. Where it was D.M. and N.G.K. Hammett are together at Brooklyn. Young Hammett and the oldest. That Baba knew Indian and because of that personal so, that because of Dr. Baba, I unrecorded because probably he started with his computers and he thought of some coming to the university. He used to hear visit computers couple of times. He used to first hour for passing university. And later on, Baba's computers of Kyara Singh Gill was the director of courses. Kyara Singh Gill was the first professor of experimental physics that Baba inducted in June of 1947 at the IIT. But Kyara Singh Gill was a strong both of the same, one had worked with conferences. Some came from America, other came from England. I get along, we couldn't get along together. So Gill abruptly left there and became Nobel advisor in Delhi. And then when Dr. Hussain was sent by the White House to view the Aligarh Muslim University, which brought all its faculty to Pakistan, was the first of them migrated to Pakistan. The theory was picked up to rebuild the physics department of Aligarh Muslim University. Which at one time, had all the people who went on to Delhi
Many of our teachers at IIT were from AMU.
There is another unrecorded visit to our department, going back to about the same time. Prime Minister Nehru was also taking a round of Chandigarh. We were, standing just outside the Vice Chancellor's office, just to see the Prime Minister. And as he neared the entrance of the department, the Prime Minister asked the jeep that he was, riding, asked the driver to stop. And he got down and he almost ran upstairs, taking, two steps at a time. He ran after him. Yes. He came to the department, he entered the lab, the only lab that was open at that time. Two of my batchmates were, doing some experiments. That was the only room open. And nobody had cameras, no press photographer followed me. But my friend and I, we were there, my friend had a camera. And this man asked, he said, to get photographs. So the two students who were working, stood like him behind them. And my friend clicked the photograph. That's the only photograph we have evidence. No, I wasn't in the photograph. But it must be a document today in the department somewhere.
Photographs were there at that time.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, may I please invite Professor Vipin Srivastava from Hyderabad, who has been wanting to give a few remarks. Vipin.
Yeah. So it was a great lecture, very comprehensive. But you forgot to mention one very important aspect of Bhabha, and that is that he was a great artist in his own right. Now,
Which cannot be covered. This is a book. Swami Baba as an artist. I got
yes,
reprinted during the Baba centenary year. This book incidentally, not initially, published in the special issue of March by a CEO and I recently copied of it. Bill Krajananda, who was the founder editor of March, he brought this book as a special issue of March after Baba's death. So people have forgotten about it. I got this book reprinted in 2009, 500 copies. Okay, so these are two collector's copies are still left, but I have one. Still I am actually collecting. Mummy Baba is an
yeah, I also have the same book. But I would like to reveal something which I have largely contained to myself so far. And that is that I consider, in this respect, I consider Baba as my guru or mentor, without ever meeting him. And the reason, and it all started in the late 60s when I was in my BSc. Before that, I didn't know that he was into drawing and painting. But as Kea would know, perhaps, that I am into drawing and painting from my childhood. And I was doing a lot of portraits by the time I reached my BSc. And it was around 1968 or so that a special issue of Illustrated Weekly of India published Bhaba's drawings. And I followed thereafter. I copied his some of his portraits and learned his style, and that is the style that I have followed since then. I've done lots of portraits exactly following Bhaba's style of drawing. Yeah, wonderful, style. So in the Eklavya style, he has been my guru in this respect. Yeah. There are some drawings in this book which were reproduced in Illustrated Weekly of India.
I'm sure that those at some point of time, so now is the time. And with one more round of applause.
Thank you so much.
We would like to give very small token of honor to the people on the dais. Much Nikalo.
Kapil Muhammad Chowdhury, who went on to be the chairman of the Pakistan Economic, second chairman of the Pakistan Economic Committee. So I'm sure he will release I'm not probably personal voters. After independence, now we have tried very hard to persuade everyone not to migrate, not to go to Pakistan. More than that, at the time of Pakistan, we were in India. So we had tried visa to come back, they want to. How to go to Pakistan? That is why they have to go to Pakistan. Similarly, they not try very hard to get the science to go along.
Thank you very much. After this vote of thanks is to go to us. So thank you all once again. And thanks for the necessary. जो देखना चाहें हम लोग अभी 10 मिनट
मैं तो ये ले जाना चाहता हूँ आजाद लेके जाते